Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to a new video. So today then I'm going to show you 8 different things that everybody should be doing before they start selling on Shopify. Purely because then a lot of these points, they're going to save you some heartache down the line, they're going to save you some money, and more importantly, they're going to save you some time. So if you haven't started selling on Shopify before, make sure you stay tuned for every single point. Even if you have started selling, I can guarantee there's going to be at least one point on this list that you haven't considered before. So make sure you stay tuned because there's something for everyone in this video. Before we jump into it though, I just want to very quickly mention, as always, I am giving away a free one-to-one consultation call in this video. So chats for me and you then to have a chat one-on-one on Skype or however you choose. And you can ask me whatever you want then about your dropshipping business. So for example then, yesterday's one-to-one winner, all we did was go through his store one-on-one and I just gave him half a dozen points to work on. So if that is the kind of thing you want the chance to win, it's dead easy to do. All you simply have to do is like the video and leave a comment down below. Tune into tomorrow's video where the winner will be announced. And with that being said then guys, let's get straight into today's video. So point number 1 then is set up a company, or at the very least I recommend setting up a separate bank account. So one of the most popular questions I get asked is, do I need to set up a company before I actually start selling? And in short, the answer is no, you don't have to. However, depending on what your circumstances are, setting up a company may be the best thing to do. And then the reason being for this then, or at least certainly in my circumstances and my situation, there's 2 main advantages for me doing so. Number 1 is financial. So currently in the UK now, corporation tax is 20%, and I believe it's about to be reduced very soon, or at least next year. And at the moment as well, for what the current tax rate is for dividends, then for how much I pay myself, it actually turns out financially better to pay myself through a company like I do. Now, everybody's circumstances are going to be individual. I'm not giving financial advice in this video. Ultimately, the advice I give in recommendation to this point is to seek your own financial advice, as everybody's circumstances are going to be different. Now, the second main reason for me setting up a company every time I open a new store is purely because when you set up a new company, essentially you're setting up a new legal entity, which then separates you from that. So should that company become liable for a significant amount of money it has to pay, then the company is liable and not me myself. Whereas if I was operating as a sole trader, or I believe it's called a sole proprietor in the US, then any debts or any monies that have to be paid would have to be paid by me. So any assets, any cars I own, any property I own, I could be forced to sell those in order to pay that money if I can't afford to do so. So they're kind of like the 2 main reasons. But like I mentioned earlier, whatever you do, the best thing to do is seek advice from an accountant, which you can usually pick up for free. Certainly in my local area, there are a couple of different firms that are willing to do free 20-minute consultations over the phone. So whatever questions you have, you can put to them. So anyway, that's point number 1 then. Moving swiftly on to point number 2. I don't want to make these videos too long. I just want to make them to the point and as much information as possible. Number 2 then, so is have money or a credit card for fulfillment of orders only. So make sure you set aside X amount of money or have a credit card that you have available to yourself so you can afford to fulfill orders. If you do go down the route of getting a credit card, make sure you stay strict with it and only use it for covering the cost of your orders, because at least then that way you know there's enough money coming in the door to then pay off that debt which you're going to be accruing on your card. Now, the reason I've put this in there is just because I've spoken to a few people before who have started dropshipping businesses. One of the attractions to doing so is you don't need a lot of money to start it, which is great, but you need to have money to fulfill your orders. There's no good having orders come in the door, then having to wait for the payouts before you can actually process them orders. The delivery times aren't great as they are. Having to wait a week, which is what the Stripe payouts are, before you can actually place the order itself with a supplier is only going to result in having upset customers. So just make sure you have X amount set aside to pay for those orders when they initially come in. Number 3 then, which is one of the most important points I'm going to mention in this video, which is get feedback on your store before you start spending on Facebook, purely because it doesn't matter how good your product is, how good your ads are. If you've got a dodgy looking store, a rubbish, poor quality, unprofessional looking store, it doesn't matter how much traffic you drive to it, nobody's going to buy your product. To give you an example then, I had a one-to-one with somebody either last week or the week before, and they'd spent $6,000 on ads, and they'd seen, I think it was something like 10% of what they'd spent on ads they'd seen in sales, which is just a crazy loss. So rather than actually focus on Facebook ads, which they wanted to do so, we went right back to the beginning, had a look at his store, and he made some fundamental mistakes that he wasn't aware of, and we were able to correct those mistakes so he has a better foundation for moving forward. I can't stress this point enough. Before you start spending money on Facebook, ask people in Facebook groups if they'd be kind enough to do it. Certainly you can join my group, it's 100% free, and you're bound to get some feedback in there. The people are pretty active, they're more than willing to help each other out, so just make sure you get some kind of feedback before you start spending money on Facebook. Number 4 then, also an extremely important point, certainly one to consider if you don't want to get sued. I see it time and time again within the fashion industry, within the fashion niches, where Chinese suppliers, being in China, if somebody tries to sue them, there's no chance in hell they're going to get hold of them. They'll just go underground, shut their store down, and open up as a different name. Whereas if you're in the UK, if you're in the US, then it's going to be more difficult to dodge, and you shouldn't even attempt to dodge it because there's just so many different legal repercussions that you just want to avoid that whole situation to begin with. So avoid any product images with models. So just to give you an example then, all I've done was go to women's clothing, and you can see now if it's a Chinese model, then there's a slimmer chance. The chances are they've just got one of the girls in the factory or in the office to do so. But you'll clearly see some of these products have, like, the chances there could be some sort of Instagram influencer, it could be some model from a modeling agency wearing a particular piece of clothing, and if they catch you using their images, then they will sue you and they will try and extort money from you. People do this as a full-time living. They will take pictures like this, distribute them across the internet, and literally just spend the majority of their time trying to find the people who have used their images, sending them pre-written emails or pre-written letters, asking them for money basically. I saw it in a Facebook group recently. Somebody had received one of these letters saying, from a company saying, you used our images, we want to pursue legal action, but to make this go away and to resolve the issue, then just send us $4,000. And it's quite a frightening thing to receive, so just make sure you cover yourself, be safe, and if needs be, just ask your supplier where they got their images from. It's a dead easy thing to avoid, and yet something that could potentially save you a lot of stress and a lot of money. Moving on to the next point then, number 5, is check if you're working with a manufacturer or a trade company. And this can be difficult to do on AliExpress. On Alibaba it's really easy because they have to say so, but on AliExpress they don't. So one of the easiest ways to do it, I've got a couple of examples to show you guys, is look at the products on the store. So for example then, taking this store as an example, they're called Dear Beauty Store. So to me that doesn't really strike some kind of branded name. If we look at the products are all random, there's no branding to them. If there is a product that's branded, it's not universal through the store. So what that would tell me is these guys are buying tons of different beauty products from different manufacturers and then advertising them as a store on AliExpress. Now, it's not the end of the world if you do work with a trade company. All it means is just bear in mind that they aren't the manufacturer. So if they run out of stock, they then have to go back to the manufacturer. And if their manufacturer is busy and this trade company is a small-time company, they might have to wait 4 to 6 weeks. So if it's a product you can't easily source somewhere else, then you're going to be in trouble. Also, you have to keep in mind is that with these companies, they're obviously having to put on their margins as well, so they may be more expensive than if you can actually find a manufacturer of the same product. When it comes to spotting a manufacturer, then generally it's a lot easier to do. For example then, if we have a look at this store here, we can see it's called Raise Me Up Official Store. The fact they've stated and called themselves an official store is a good sign. But then if we just take a look at the kind of products they're selling, you can see all the images are branded with their logo, and all of their products are called Raise Me Up and then the name of the product, or at least Raise Me Up, and then they've put the keywords in there to try and rank in the search rankings. So to me, this would hint, the fact that they're all kind of similar styles, similar shapes, etc., it would hint to me that these guys are actually manufacturers. So number 1, you'll probably struggle to find the exact same shoe on another store, and number 2, if you did, then you probably wouldn't be able to compete with these guys' prices because they're probably the manufacturer. Moving on to number 6 then, guys, which is having a domain and an email to match. So if you're trying to advertise a store that finishes with .myshopify.com, I think you're really going to struggle. At the same time, if in your contact us page you're having it at gmail.com or anything that doesn't match your domain, then to a customer it hints that you're not very professional, and that could be enough to put people off. So my solution to this problem then is get a G Suite account. Now, setting up a G Suite account, it can be a bit tricky. However, if it's something you might want a video on, make sure you leave a comment down below, and if there's enough people voting for the same thing, I'm more than happy to produce a video on it. Moving on to number 7 then, coming into the last couple, which is run a page likes engagement campaign to your page to build up the likes, to build up the social proof before you start advertising your product. So to give you an example then, here we are inside my ad manager account. If you just choose engagement as the marketing objective, and then down here you've got these different options. You can see you can choose page likes, which is essentially going to tell Facebook, I want you to go out there, show my ad to people who are most likely to actually click on my Facebook page and like it. Because I can't stress the importance of this enough, really, because the more likes you have, then the more likely people are to trust you. If you think about all the big companies, all the big celebrities, why do people trust them? Why do people like them? It's because so many people follow them, so many people endorse them, so many people buy into them. So the more likes and engagement you can have on your page, then the better. And then just to finish off this point, as an optional extra, however, I do recommend it, certainly if you've got the time to do so, is create some decent content to put on your social media pages before you start running ads. If a customer comes across your ad and they want to check you out to make sure you're legit and trustworthy, if they go into your Facebook page and the last post on your Facebook page was so-and-so changed their profile picture or so-and-so changed their cover photo, in my opinion, it doesn't look very professional. So put some decent content on there, like running a certain competition for a free product. It could be linked to a blog post. It could be some sort of funny meme, just something that looks professional and is going to entice a customer to like your page yourself and actually trust you. Moving into the final point then, guys, one of the most important, in fact, which is mindset and expectations. So I'm only going to quickly mention on this because I could do a whole video on the topic, but all I want to say then is just don't be unrealistic with your expectations. Just try not to get wrapped up in the hype of social media and believing everything you see. You've got to have realistic expectations and you've got to have a strong mindset. There will be failures, there will be things where you don't know what to do, that you'll just have to go through, and it'll be a painful learning experience where it'll cost you money, it'll cost you time, it'll probably cost you many sleepless nights. It happens to me, it's going to happen to you. Just stay strong-willed and just remember why you're starting a dropshipping business in the first place, and have those ultimate and bigger goals at hand. In terms of expectations, what you see online is not always going to be the truth. So don't be disheartened if you don't replicate their results. Again, it comes back to mindset. Have a strong mindset, have realistic expectations, and try not to rush things. Have 3-month goal, 6-month goal, 12-month goal. If you have those long-term goals, then it will force you not to rush into throwing up a store in day one, coming up with some products in day one, running Facebook ads in day one. Take your time, do it properly, and trust me, when you achieve those goals you want to achieve, it will be worth it. And that's one thing I can guarantee from this video, is that when you get to that point that you've always wanted to get to from the very beginning, then it will 100% be worth it. No matter how much money it's cost you, how many sleepless nights, how much time it's cost you, it will always be worth it. And with that being said then, guys, with that little motivational speech at the end, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it motivated you to go out there now and put some more hours into your business. Don't get disheartened, just keep doing what you're doing. And if you want more information, more detail, make sure you check out the links in the video description below. I've put together like 5 free ebooks. They're 100% free. They've got some really good feedback as well, so make sure you head down there and check them out. Otherwise, if you commented on my previous video, let's get into announcing the winner of that first one-to-one consultation call. So this is the previous video then, guys. If you've been running $5 Facebook ads, then I thoroughly recommend you go and check it out. It's had some really good feedback with it having 75 likes. So a massive thank you. I can't thank you guys enough. Seriously, the channel support has been pretty incredible. Like, never when I started a YouTube channel did I think I was going to get to 7,000 subs. So thank you very much. If you haven't subbed yet, please do make sure you hit that subscribe button. Less than 50% of the people that watch this are actually subscribed to my channel, so make sure you subscribe for weekly videos. Anyway, let's take the video URL then, head over to the random comment picker, and let's see who the first winner of August is going to be this year. So 37 unique comments. Thank you to everybody who has entered, and the winner of the previous video then is Sociable Sam. So thank you very much, Sam, for your comment. Make sure you reach out on Instagram and we can get that call arranged. And guys, I can't thank you enough for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do make sure you hit that like button. If you want a chance to win a one-to-one call in tomorrow's video, make sure you leave a comment on this one, and of course make sure you check out the links in the video description below. There's some pretty cool free ebooks there you can download and some other things for you to check out. And with that being said then, thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.